Welcome back to the next episode of Red Flag Racing. My name is Jocelyn, and apologies for a little bit of the discrepancy in time when it comes to uploading these episodes. We have definitely been very busy when it comes to our personal lives, but we are here to talk about Bahrain testing, pre-testing before the official start of the season. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the start of week 1 of testing and week 2 of testing.
And as always, I'm Rissy, but Jossie already said, Bahrain testing. We're late. Sorry, no sorry. Let's get into it.
Yes.
So, day 1, week 1, Bahrain testing. First of
Yes.
all, what is Bahrain testing actually? Let's get into that.
So Bahrain
testing is more...
Go for
Go
it.
ahead, you're good.
I was just gonna say Bahrain
No.
testing is kind of like making sure that there is the weather testing on top of the overall testing. So it's probably one of the rougher surfaces when it
Yeah.
comes to circuits. So when in comparison to
It's
shakedown,
one
when
of
we
the
were
more
doing that,
brutal for the
yes,
drivers.
exactly. So when it comes to Bahrain, they're kind of making sure that not only are they having possible weather discrepancies, they're also having rough terrains, they're having harder turns, harder corners sometimes
Safety
in certain sections.
concerns.
Exactly. So
Yep.
whatever
Safety
possibility could come
concerns for
up.
top performers. Different things for the car. Like,
Yes.
obviously, we'll speak on, we saw Ferrari with a new little twist to their rear end. So technical
Literally.
innovations. Different, just
Yes.
getting information before we go to the first race for
Yes.
them to kind of know what's needed, because there
Hmm.
were a lot of red flags, a lot of issues.
Yes.
So it's just to get those little quirks and kinks and whatnot out.
Exactly. And one of the biggest
Yes.
things is that there's quite a lot of engineers and reporters that talk about when it comes to Bahrain testing, that what we see during testing is kind of what we can expect during the rest of the season. So, kind of seeing the
But
technical
and also
issues.
we don't know. But also we don't know who would be sandbagging and who's still hiding pace,
Yes.
because a lot of teams could be lying.
Yes.
But
They
it's
could
very
definitely
like there's a
still.
smaller gap than Barca.
Yes. Barcelona, the sandbagging is insane when it comes to hiding their newfound technology, when it comes to hiding any tricks that they have up their sleeve, when it comes to anything that could potentially push them forward. They usually hide it a little bit more when it comes to shakedown in comparison to testing. So in this situation,
Yes.
what we saw in Barcelona wasn't necessarily what we were going to believe fully. What we're seeing in Bahrain, we're seeing it a little bit more where, okay, this is kind of what we're seeing. Is it 100% what we're going to see on track during the actual season? No. It's kind of like a maybe 80% what we will see during the rest of the season. 20%, there's still kind of some discrepancies. There's basis for changing when it comes to technology, when it comes to
Exactly.
engineering. So it definitely does have that
Exactly.
little set situation.
And as the season goes, everything's changing. As the season
Yes.
goes, everything's changing anyways.
Yes.
So nothing's ever like completely true.
Exactly.
But I'm hoping and praying to God that Ferrari is a fucking bullet.
I hope so. I think everybody in Formula One, in the fandom, in the industry in of itself, is kind of praying to
The
whatever is out
Tifosi
there. The
themselves.
Tifosi themselves, for all we know, the Pope himself is also praying for Ferrari. I think it's one of
Right.
those we've seen the struggle within the last couple of years when it comes to Ferrari overall. And Riss and I have been talking about it. Lewis doesn't really post in comparison. Like last year, he wasn't posting much. Very
Lewis
espresso
and Leclerc have
depresso.
not posted much last season. Last season they did not post whatsoever, but this season
No.
we are getting content on
Mhm.
personal and Ferrari. Like,
Yes.
hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Okay,
And
well, with that being said,
so week 1, testing day 1. So let's kind of jump into the top 5 for day 1. I know it's an exciting time for
number
you. So
one,
if you want
Lando
to,
Norris.
yes. So Norris was
Yes.
first with
Day
a
one,
minute 34, was it 34.669 seconds. And
point
then,
six. Yes.
yes, so if we're going into like the exacts, what they have on the websites. And then, so if we're going in order, we have Norris at the pace with the fastest lap times on day one, week one. And then after that, we had Verstappen, Leclerc, Ocon, and then Piastri. So when it comes to day one, there was, let's talk about Ferrari, 132 laps with Ferrari with no incident whatsoever. So they were
No
scorching hot,
incidents. No
no
incidents.
incidents, nothing at all. But when we're talking about incidents, your beloved Argentinian,
Franco.
there was a red
Yes.
flag with Colapinto. So when it came to Alpine, Colapinto stopped during the testing period and there was a red flag called. A lot of people are saying that Alpine is potentially running the car on a lower fuel just to see how low they can potentially push the car. Again, this is kind of like what Riss and I were talking about beforehand. We don't know what's really real and what's not because that's just kind of a testing situation. That is what they're doing, where they're trying to see before the actual season starts how far they can go, how much they can push the limits of the car. And poor Franco was the one that had to be the red flag on day one. So,
Yeah, and I mean, he already gets enough hate as it is, so
yeah,
sorry, Franco. But also, it's not his fault.
no,
Alpine is trying their best. All the teams are trying their best. This
yes,
is their first, like, full push. Like, they're going for
yes,
it, each team, you
exactly.
know?
So, I think when it came to day one, it was really nice to see the pacing that the guys were having. I think too, let's talk about Leclerc. Leclerc was racing out that weekend. That was Valentine's Day weekend. And congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Leclerc for officially having their civil wedding. If we're going to be talking about kind of
Yes.
those little monumental changes. But Ferrari overall is surprising us already on just the first day with Leclerc coming in pretty hot in top three, coming in at that third position with top five
I know.
drivers for day one. But then let's go into day two of week one. Who was the one that topped
Yes, day
day two?
two, Leclerc was. So in the AM, Leclerc was top of the charts.
Yes.
Who was top of the charts for the day? Did it say?
So Leclerc was the one that topped the charts overall with the setting the fastest time. So his morning session
Okay.
was at a minute
Yeah.
34.2. So that's where he was afterwards. So we have Leclerc was 0.511 seconds over
Norris and
Norris.
Pierre.
And so it was Leclerc, Norris, Behrman, Russell, Hajar.
Oh, okay.
So those were the top
Oh,
five for
I only
day
have the
two.
morning. That's why I was like, wait.
Oh, I'm just going like overall
Okay,
for like the
overall.
entire day. So we have Leclerc,
Yeah,
Norris,
yeah,
Behrman,
yeah.
Russell,
See, my
Hadjar.
notes.
I
Yeah.
feel that. But
You know,
let's,
I think I had top AM. I had top AM because what threw me for a loop was Gasly being in the top three
yes. Okay. If you want to talk about
in the
AM times
morning.
with what you have written down, what do you have written down for the AM?
Well, I literally just have like top AM was Leclerc, Norris, and Pierre. I think the only reason was because Pierre being third
Definitely something
just
that
kind of just threw me for a loop. I was like, wait,
interesting.
what?
Yeah. I think Gasly has been doing
Yeah.
pretty well during testing overall. Obviously there were a couple issues,
Yeah.
but I think it's very, very nice to kind of have that setting where he did set up that top three in the morning. Regardless if it's overall or if it's just the morning, still very nice to be
Doing
ranked
good.
that high up. I think
Midfield
especially
bottom of the barrel teams are becoming midfield teams and
yeah,
vice versa. Like teams are all kind of switching positions. Obviously you have top three remaining kind of top three in a
yeah.
way.
So I
Top three,
mean if
top
we want
four,
to talk
like
about
Mercedes,
top
Ferrari,
three,
Red Bull,
yeah.
McLaren.
I think if we want to talk about top three when it comes to day two, though, Behrman was the one that rounded out the top three for day two. And so that's also a really, really cool thing to see Ollie being up in those ranks for
Yes.
testing. Um, but I think let's kind of jump into day two with the issues that were on hand. Day two was when we kind of
Oh, they
started
too had a
seeing
lot of
the
issues.
cover coming off. We're talking about Cadillac, we're talking about Mercedes, we're talking about Red Bull. Um, there was a lot of
Aston
issues.
Martin, Racing
Yes.
Bulls, like for
So,
Aston Martin, they were behind by 4 seconds. They're having issues with their Honda engine.
yes.
There's just been a lot of things going on with their engines. Hajar held back by a technical problem early on. Kimi
Mhm.
being restricted to only 3 laps for his
Yes.
testing round
Yeah.
because of aforementioned troubles with his car,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
Mercedes having an engine issue with their changing power and had to change the power unit,
Yeah. So I
I believe.
have Mercedes split the day when it came to the drivers. So Kimmy was the one that was driving in the
Most teams
morning.
did.
Yeah. Most teams did, but for my specific notes, I have that Mercedes in particular was the one that was kind of being put under the microscope a little bit more. So Kimmy was the one that was having power
Well,
unit
there was so
issues
many
in the
different
morning.
things out in the news with Mercedes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Of, well, is their car legal? Is this,
Yeah.
and that, and the other? And I think,
Yeah.
are they still not being investigated, or was that cleared?
Last I heard, I think it was cleared. I think they were fine.
Okay.
Could be wrong. Maybe I'm remembering my information differently. But I know that in particular, that was kind of the biggest drama that was going on for the longest part, where we didn't
Yes.
see exactly how Mercedes was going to play out after we saw what they were going through in Shakedown, how surprising that was. But I think overall, we have the Mercedes split for the day where he was replaced by George in the afternoon. Red Bull was having technical issues overall throughout the day. Cadillac was having situations where when we talk about red flags, both drivers for Cadillac brought on red flags. We had
Yes.
Botas had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
debris because he lost part of his mirror. And so they had to bring
Which is
out the
crazy, because how the
marshals.
hell does that happen?
I think what it
Like,
was he got too close to another. There was like a little bit of a situation where he got too close to a driver and it just kind of like took off the mirror. The other driver, I don't remember. I did not write that down. So that is my bad. But Botas
yeah.
did lose part of his mirror and that caused some debris around the ground. So they had to send out the marshals to clean up the debris to kind of make sure that everything was okay. There wasn't any other damage that was going to be accrued for the other vehicles. So that happened. Perez suffered a stoppage early on that day as well. There was
Yeah.
quite a lot of lockups when it came to a lot of the vehicles. A lot of the cars were having issues when it came to their steering.
Well, Checo caused the red flags because he did have a lockup, and then he just
Yes.
parked his car.
Yeah.
So you can't have a park. You can't park there.
You can't park there. Gasly also stopped at turn one at a certain point during the race, not the race, the testing.
Yeah.
But there was also like a bigger thing where race control was also needing to check their entire systems. So when it
Yes.
came to the final
Within the
10
last
minutes,
10 minutes.
yes. So the final 10
Yeah.
minutes of day two, we had race control coming into checking their system. So there was a lot of tests that were being completed when it came to the virtual safety car, yellow flags, and red flags. So
Yep.
there was
And
a
that's mostly
lot.
day two, right?
Yeah. Day two, there was a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that was going on. Um, Day three, where I think when it comes to week
Kimmy
one,
was overall for day three.
yes. So do I have
Yeah.
written down? I do not. If you have written
Um.
down the drivers for day three.
So I
So,
have Russell in the morning. I have Kimmy topped overall for day three.
mhm,
Hold on. I can pull it up right now. Let me
got it.
see. So it goes Kimmy with the 133.669, which
Mm,
we've been seeing most of the top drivers with the 133.
yeah.
And then George with then you have George and Lewis So Kimmy, George, and Lewis were your top three.
Yes.
And Lewis had completed 150 laps that day, whereas Kimmy only completed 61.
Ah, interesting,
So,
interesting.
but I don't
I
know
know.
if Lewis was all day or not. So,
Hmm. I apparently didn't write too much for day three. I did write a lot of
because there
specifications
wasn't
when it
much
came.
on day three.
No, there wasn't. I think for
The
me, what
big
I
thing,
wrote, yes,
the big thing I saw was Albin had locked up heavily during session, running off track, and closing stages. So, like towards the end of
yes,
the session.
yes,
So that's like I literally only have those three things for day
yeah.
three. Didn't seem like a lot was going on day three.
Mhm. For me, I have day three, we were looking into the specifications when it came into Pirelli. So Pirelli, when it came into the tires that they were kind of allowing the um, drivers to be using, or for the engineers and the teams to be choosing for those cars to kind of test out. They were also kind of going into specifications about how the modifications for the tires overall for this season kind of we did start seeing a little bit coming into play. So again, just kind of like a refresher, the tires alongside what the car did become slimmer. So we did see a narrowing of about 25 millimeters towards the front of the tires, with about 30 millimeters of a reduction in the back, making the overall tire width a little bit more narrower to kind of go into consideration with the more narrower cars. So Pirelli was kind of going in a lot of like different teams were choosing different tires, trying to test out what it was with the limitations that Pirelli did put in with those tires. Um, I did see that there was another red flag when it came to Bottas stopping on the track for day three. Bordoletto was having issues with the twitchy car, but he ended up kind of fixing it and regaining control towards one of the final corners. Aston Martin was seen testing different engine covers. So they were going in with a traditional cooling cutout for their engines, but they were also kind of checking in for a more solid design just to see when it came to cooling of the engines itself. So with that, Bortoletto was having issues with the twitchy car. And then when it came to significant lockups that the drivers were reporting a lot, we do see that there was pretty consistent lockups when it came to Verstappen, Russell, and Piastri in particular for day three.
All right. Crazy.
So,
So that basically sums up week one of testing, the
yes,
first 3 days. Let's roll into.
week
So this
two.
episode's not crazy long for you guys. Let's roll into
Yeah,
week two, and let's
yes.
get into day one. So, Russell was top with a 133.4 for the day.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason I was obsessed with the morning times. I don't know why, but
No,
Leclerc was fastest with a 133.7 in the morning, and then
yes.
Piastri was top in the PM session with a 133.4.
Yes. So I have, when it comes to day one, I have the top five is Russell, Piastri, Leclerc, Norris, Antonelli is what I have written down for the top five. So for Russell, kind of what you said, it's a minute 33.4 seconds, and he did clear Piastri by 0.010 seconds. Um, and then Leclerc just kind of came up where he was under 3 tenths below Piastri. So when it came to day one, overall, it was kind of the same situation with week one, where there wasn't necessarily a lot going on, except for one of the more significant red flags.
The big red flag
Stroll.
was Lance, yeah, Stroll beaching in the gravel at turn 11, only
Yes.
1 hour into the session.
Into the session. Yes.
Which honestly, this is very on brand for Stroll because he
It
has
is
beached
very
in the
on
gravel
brand.
before.
Yeah. Quite a lot. Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Um, wouldn't be a race if there wasn't a crash from Stroll or him just completely getting beached. So I think day one was kind of in that part. I think that was the most eventful situation that happened during day one.
Yeah.
The boys overall were pretty
Well, and then
consistent.
another thing with Aston Martin is Alonso kept having power unit issues for the
Yes,
morning.
yes. And so
So
he did
Aston
have a
Martin's
lot
kind of just been not doing too hot.
having quite a lot of things on their plate. Kind of okay. talking about Alonso, though, let's kind of jump into day two. So before we even go into who was the ones that led in the afternoon and who led in the morning, there was the red flag with Alonso on day two, week two, where Alonso was having battery issues and he did stop on the track in the AM. So there was a
Yes.
statement released by Honda on day three, kind
Day
of going
three.
over the
Yes.
the issues that Alonso was having with those battery situations. So I don't know
Yes.
if you have a little bit more information on what the overall statement was talking about. All I
Um,
know is it was kind of like a broadband. Hey, this happened. We're working on it. We're fixing it.
yeah.
Um,
That's basically all it was, I believe.
yeah.
I can look it up and see. But as for day two, you started seeing some of the teams run soft tires a little bit more.
Yes. Yeah.
Franco was experiencing a lot of lockups.
Yes.
Kimmy was top overall for the
Yes.
day. Um, honorable mention, Lando was top in the morning.
Yes.
Okay.
So Norris
I
did
think maybe
lead
that's
in
why I'm obsessed with the AM.
our top five is Leclerc, Norris, Verstappen,
Leclerc!
Russell, and Gasly. We have Pierre coming up into that
Pierre
top five.
Gasly!
Pierre Gasly. But listen to this.
uh,
Leclerc clocked in with the fastest time recorded with 1 minute 31.9. 1 minute
see,
31.9
yeah,
seconds, which
we
he
starting to
was,
catch pace. We're starting
yes.
to see a little
And
bit more.
so he did clear Norris by about 8 tenths of a second. And then he completely was
Yeah.
1.1 seconds above Verstappen. So
Dang. And then
Leclerc
talking of
was,
Leclerc, I guess he had some sort of wide moment within testing that day.
yes,
I don't know when, what. I just have Leclerc with a wide moment.
yes. I think there was kind of that situation where there was a lot of talks when it came to the new terminology when it comes to all of the new modifications that have been going on with the season.
Yes.
So obviously we have four different terminologies that were kind of becoming very prominent and prevalent during testing. So we did have the terminology that was picked up a lot during week two was boost, overtake, recharge, and active arrow. So let's kind of go in touch base just as a little bit of a refresher when it comes to that terminology. So boost is exactly what it says, right? It's kind of a boost that the drivers are able to do when it comes to kind of having that defensive method to push ahead from the other cars and the drivers that are coming up towards them. So it is more on the battery deployment era where they're pushing through, kind of getting that extra little push, that extra oomph to push them forward and pass those vehicles to kind of avoid an overtake. But on top of that, we also have overtake. So overtakes are used within 1 second of the car in front. So let's say that we had, let's compare timings, right? So we did talk about how Antonelli had the 1 minute 32.8 second um, on day two of testing for week two, but then Leclerc had a minute 31.9 seconds. So that's when we would be able to kind of see that overtake being put into play, where there is that 1 second of separation. So it just kind of provides a little bit of extra energy for the vehicles to push them forward to, again, try to not have overtakes happen. And then we also did see a little bit of issues when it came to the battery. So there was a situation earlier on when it came to testing where I don't remember who it was, but the battery kind of ran out and it came to like a rolling stop.
Kimmy, all I know is Kimmy had stopped on track with a pneumatic issue in the morning. And yeah, and
Yeah,
then we
day
have
two of
Stroll
week
not
two.
setting a lap time for the
Yeah.
day.
Yes. So I think
Yeah,
overall,
day
when it
three.
comes to, yes.
Yes.
So when it comes to recharge, recharge is exactly what it is. We do have that split when it comes to the engines kind of having that higher electrical split. So it is just kind of trying to get the batteries up to power. So this includes when it comes to trying to get those batteries up to power, the drivers are able to do a couple of different things. So this kind of includes braking for corners. So if they kind of bring back the speed and they start braking for corners, that's going to kind of help when it comes to the recharge of the batteries. And then also lifting and coasting is going to be able to kind of give that little extra boost for the battery recharge. And then
Yes.
active arrow, we've already discussed that as well. Active arrow is kind of what we've been seeing when it comes to those front wings being adjusted and everything to avoid drag and having those modifications done like with Ferrari. Ferrari did kind of unveil that new super, super cool 180 rotation when it comes to their rear wing. And so those are the different things that we've been seeing when it comes to testing overall. So good on Ferrari for bringing that up during testing, where it would be a little bit too hard for the rest of the teams to copy on and kind of catch on to that pace, that difference that they're doing.
Yes. Yes. And then I mean, I guess just like overall, Ferrari's yet to see any issues, so they're
Mhm.
doing good. As for classifications, everybody's doing good.
And that is kind of our Cliff Notes version, very speedy little recovery of what Bahrain testing was for the 2026 season. So let's kind of jump into our predictions for the first race of the season, Australia. We are
Yes.
thankfully back and having our race week. So let's talk about it, Riss. What do you think is your prediction for Australia? What are we thinking just based off of what we've seen during shakedown and testing?
I feel like obviously being biased, Lando's gonna do good. Lando's gonna be
Yeah.
within that top three. I think we might see Ferraris on top, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I
I'm really
agree.
I'm really thinking they're gonna be like the top three too as well. So my predictions are Leclerc, Hamilton, Norris, not in no specific order, but I
Hmm.
really think that's what we're gonna see. I've been hearing and seeing rumors that Aston Martin's gonna do the start and then retire for the race.
Yes. Yes.
So could
I
see
did
an
see
early
that.
retirement from Aston Martin.
Mhm.
We'll see how that goes. I think Red Bull's gonna just obviously be lying about what they had in pace in Bahrain and be
Mhm.
a bullet.
Mhm.
Um, which I don't think anybody puts that past them.
Mhm. I think I'm kind of with you on that vibe. I think, but in part also, the world is becoming a very crazy place right now currently when it comes to world events. Um
Yes.
whether you've been completely keen on everything or you've just been deciding to stay away from the news, um, things that are happening in the world, unfortunately, are affecting every single aspect. And it has gotten to a point where it is affecting F1.
F1.
Um, we did see recently where Ferrari's team that was going to be specified for the first race and for China is stuck in Doha. So they
Yes. I
aren't able
think
to
that was
go.
cleared today actually. I think a lot of it had been resolved today.
I hope so, because the last time that I saw it was that the team that was going to be set in place for Australia and China in particular were stuck in Doha. So they were going to
Yes.
set in the second team that was used during testing to help out with Ferrari overall.
Yes.
So I think hopefully that doesn't kind of interfere with how Ferrari has been doing. But I think when it comes to my predictions overall, I think I might go Leclerc, Norris, and Verstappen. I think are probably going to be the top three that I'm viewing and monitoring. Verstappen was kind of a little bit of a toss up during
He's a
testing,
wild
so
card for sure.
he is a wild card, and I feel like if anybody is going to have some tricks up their sleeve, it might be Max. Um, but I don't
Yes.
know. I'm also seeing George has been doing really damn good during testing.
Mercedes has been
So,
doing pretty good. I
mhm,
mean, As like I've already said, as for classifications, Mercedes
Yeah.
is good. Like our
Yeah.
top teams are literally Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren.
Yeah. I
Those are
think if
your
I were to
top
go
three right now.
top three, and then Red Bull would be our wild card when it comes to how
Yes.
they're doing. So I agree with that. I think Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren overall is probably going to be the top three when it comes to that. I'd say Red Bull is probably our wild card. I would probably also go where if we're going to go with a super wild card, I would throw in Haas. I would throw in
Honestly,
Haas.
yeah, I would too. I definitely would. I feel like yeah, they're in there somewhere.
Yeah.
They're secretive. I feel like yeah, we're just gonna be seeing a lot of teams that were potentially sandbagging or
Yes.
potentially somehow some way lying about their car, their
Yeah.
issues and whatnot.
I think probably like my mega wild cards would be Haas. I think my would be nice if they do well would be Alpine. I feel like Gasly and Colapinto
Yes.
overall that would
They
be
deserve a freaking break.
they deserve a break. Especially Franco, poor Franco.
Ugh, my heart.
But considering that Gasly has been consistently popping up when it comes to the names is also very surprising
Yes.
to me. So who knows? I think for me, top three, similar to you, would be Mercedes, McLaren, and Ferrari. Wild card overall, where we just don't know where they're going, would be Red Bull. I think the would be nicest would be Alpine and Haas, just based off of what we've been seeing.
Yes.
But I am hopeful for Cadillac. I am hopeful that, well, we'll see. We'll see. And then
It's gonna be interesting for
I
sure.
think shit out of luck right now is Aston Martin for sure. Um, because it's
Yeah.
already looking like it's not going to be a great opening race for them.
Yeah, it's already terrible. They're
Yeah.
behind in pace and this, that, and the other. And
Yeah.
rumors are circulating and spiraling. Speaking of
Hmm.
rumors, Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton were just spotted in fucking Arizona.
What?
Like yesterday. Yeah, yesterday they were spotted in Arizona, bro.
I don't. I don't want a Kardashian. That's that's a
None of us
personal
do.
situation. That's a personal thing for me. I'm like, Lewis, come on,
Yeah.
please, please, please. Um, but okay, we've gone
On a
over
personal
Bahrain.
note, yeah, exactly. On a personal note, we're gonna get out of here so you guys can enjoy the rest of
Yes,
whatever time it is. You're
yes.
sleeping, whatever, breakfast, I don't know. But yeah,
Afternoon tea.
we covered Bahrain, we covered a bit of our predictions.
Yes.
Um Next you'll see us is right after Australian
Yep.
GP. So stay tuned for that and our
Yes.
reactions to that.
Yes.
Probably gonna be a little chaotic coming from us.
I think so. I think this is kind of where our personality does kind of peak out a little bit more once racing starts, once the season is in full swing. So keep an eye out for that when we start talking about it. That's probably going to be filmed. Who knows if we're going to be up at like 2 a.m. after the race our time, or if we're just going
Yeah.
to try and film it the day after once we've collected our thoughts
Yeah, so you'll see it within 24 to 48 hours after the
after the
Australian
race.
GP. But
Yes.
as always, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe.
Yep.
Follow our Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, obviously our YouTube, subscribe.
Yes.
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Red Flag Racing underscore pod, I believe. I don't
Yes.
know. It'll be in the description box below.
Yes.
Yeah.
But all right, keep an eye out. Let us know what your predictions are for the race. Let us know, do you think that the teams that we set at the top are not the top three? Or who are your wild cards? What are you thinking of for
Let's
when it comes to
argue.
Australia?
Let's argue.
I love to argue.
But
But all
all
right,
right, guys.
guys.
See you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.